So I think that the issue that I have with Renaldo, the figure, is not even really an issue with, the toy itself. It's more an issue with the decision to make this Renaldo character into a figure in the first place at the expense of all of the other characters that could possibly have been chosen. Even characters from Dial of Destiny who I feel would have made more compelling figures than this. So maybe it's just my sort of bias getting in the way here, but this figure annoys me a little bit. Let's look at it now. Hi everyone, Chris here, the Geek Figure fan, and today we're taking a look at the second figure from Wave 3, and I think part of the reason I want to do Renaldo now is just get it out of the way early. I think this will be a short review, because I don't have a great deal to say about this figure, because there isn't a great deal to cover. But Renaldo is obviously the Antonio Banderas character from the latest Indiana Jones movie, The Dial of Destiny, a character that was in the movie for about, 10 minutes at most, but we'll get onto that in a little bit. Let's take a look at the box first, and obviously it's the same look as all the others. Fantastic box art. I always go on about the box art, but this adventure series does not let you down with its box. I really do think that, considering these are, blister-free packs, that they've done everything they can to make the boxes appealing and, sell the figures as best they can. And obviously my favourite bit is the poster art on one side. Really nice large drawing of Antonio Banderas on the left there, and a smaller image of him and Indy embracing, and it is a nice moment from the movie. And on the front and back we've got the photorealistic views of the figure, and on the back we also have a listing of the accessories that come with it. So first, let's get the figure out and let's have a look at him. Now I have to say that this looks at first glance to be an incredibly well made figure. I'm just showing you here the body, and look at the dirt effect on his shirt, the staining, the sea air has clearly worked on him, and all the details of like the tattoos on his arm and on his wrist, and you've got a little brace by the looks of things on his ankle there as well, which is clearly why he needs the walking stick. Great head movement on here, standard Exorcist head movement. Really tough wing movement there. It does butterfly eventually, and there is a single joint in the elbow, along with good movement on the wrists there, so nothing too crazy. And likewise, if we move down to the bottom, you've got good knee joint movement, single joint in the knee, and excellent ankle movement there as well, probably more than you would think with that brace on there. Also excellent torso movement on there as well, just a single ball joint in the torso. So I'll put him aside and we'll have a quick look at the accessories that come with it. So it comes with his little Popeye the Sailor Man hat, and this will go onto his head over his hair, unlike the indie hats. So yeah, that looks alright, nice and sort of weathered look to it. And we have his cane, his walking cane. Again, it's a single colour, there's a nice little bit of detail on there. There's not a great deal to that other than that, which is a bit of a shame. And then a huge grail, or part of the grail, which is the top to the table, and you can see on here lots of little indentations for all of those false grails and idols to sit on there. That's a really nice looking table. I can't wait to put this together. I really think it's going to blow that Ark of the Covenant out of the water, really. Let's get him into some poses anyway, and we'll have a discussion about what we think of this figure. So from a really neutral perspective, the figure looks great, but I think it is probably going to be hard for me to be particularly neutral on some of the conversations we have around this. But I will say, like, the detail on his clothing, especially that blue top that he's got on, is fantastic. The sort of green dirt, probably a bit of moss that he's picked up while working on that tugboat, just brilliant. And the head sculpt as well. Amazing head sculpt. If you had no idea, what this figure was from, you would still, I think, know that is Antonio Banderas' likeness on this figure. Such an impressive head sculpt on there, especially the hair. I think the hair is super impressive. Loads of detail on that hair, and on the beard, the facial hair as well. So no, I'm so impressed with that head sculpt, and it continues the trend that we talked about last week with the Sean Connery likeness, that the head sculpts, the face sculpts in Wave 3 are a step above the previous waves, in my opinion. I think they knock it out of the park with at least 5 of the 6 face sculpts from this wave. That massive improvement on previous waves. Some of the head sculpts have been a bit of a letdown at times. So yeah, I think that the figure itself looks excellent. And if we move on to what he looks like with his hat and his cane. So yeah, I mean, the hat again sits on his head well and doesn't look unusually big considering it's got to go over his hair. So yeah, I think that looks absolutely fine. Not a lot to say about it. Likewise with his cane, it sits on his body well. You know, it creates a nice silhouette. But other than that, it is yet another example of the adventure series letting us down with accessories. The main issue I have, and spoiler alert for the Voller figure that's coming later, we don't have a Dial of Destiny in this wave at all. You know, from wave 2 or wave 3. It's a tiny little MacGuffin. How have we not got a little plastic golden Antikythera device that could be, you know, just one of the figures, or it could be split in half and given to 2 figures so it could be clicked together, almost like a little cheat build an artifact. You know, it would have been such an easy accessory to include, and yet we end up with another figure that's got just the poorest selection of accessories. A plain hat and a plain cane. There are 3 colours across 2 accessories. You've got a blue and a white hat and just a plain brown cane. So disappointing, Hasbro. There are so many accessories you could have done for this. For Renaldo, you could have had the wax sort of tablet that stores that half of the dial within it. You know, you could have had a gun from him, because at least there's a gun in the scene. There's so many characters that come with guns that don't need them, and he could have had one. It could have come with scuba gear. There's so many different little touches that they could have chosen for this figure, and I will have a similar conversation when we get to Voller, because his accessories are likewise pathetic. I don't want to be incredibly negative on the figure itself, because the figure looks great. So this is an issue of choice. This is an issue of Hasbro choosing this character in the first place and choosing to half-arse the accessories. If we talk a little bit before we finish about the choice of Renaldo as the 4th character from the Dial of Destiny, when we know there are other characters that they could have chosen who are in far more of the movie, I think they've chosen him because Antonio Banderas is a big name. You know, he's in it almost as much as Salah is, and they already have a Salah face sculpt. You know, Salah's been in 3 movies and we've still only got 1 figure of him. But you think of all of the figures across other films that we could have gotten. We haven't got a single Crystal Skull figure, but we've got Renaldo. We haven't got a Willie Scott, but we've got Renaldo. You know, I don't want to get into the politics or the reasons why we haven't got as many villains as we have, but you know, we could have had a German mechanic, but we got Renaldo. Could have had a Mutt Williams, but we got Renaldo. That's kind of where my head is with this figure. I needed it to complete the wave, and I knew that I wanted to review every figure in the wave, but I just think it's an issue of choice, and I think Renaldo was the wrong choice. So it's not this figure's fault, it's not Antonio Banderas' fault, and they have done a good job in recreating his likeness. But I just wish that this space hadn't been taken by him. You know, there's clearly, I don't think, going to be any more figures, and I know we've had conversations on this channel before about whether or not we will see any future waves. I think it's highly unlikely. So in this range where real estate is light, where spaces aren't available, it just seems such a shame that we're giving precious space to this character and not others. You know, not a character we've seen in any other movie, not a character, you know, it's a character that dies after 5 minutes, and I don't think the film earns that death, because I don't think us as the audience particularly care about the character when he goes. So yeah, but I suppose that's a conversation for the movie itself. But in summary, I think the figure is incredibly well made and will look fantastic on a shelf. It just shouldn't have happened in the first place, from my point of view. Now, other people might love Renaldo as a character, and that's absolutely fine, but from that movie alone, Toby Jones as Basil Shaw is a far more crucial character in that story than Renaldo is. Maybe they've just tried to avoid having another character in a suit, and I kind of understand that after all of the suit covered characters that I have reviewed. Being Basil Shaw was an essential character to the plot, and he's in the entirety of that first 20-minute sequence and in flashbacks, and is the character that ties the two leads together. So yeah, anyway, I'll leave it there on that. I think he's a good figure, and obviously if you need to complete the wave, then I don't think you'll be disappointed with how it looks on your shelf. I think you'll just be disappointed that he exists in the first place. But yeah, if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Please consider subscribing to my channel. It would really help me out. And if you're interested in this Indiana Jones Adventure series, why not check out this video next? Thanks ever so much. Take care. Bye bye.